We all know about your sex life. Dave Chappelle is one of the greatest comedians of all time because he makes ministerial and racial comedy done right. In fact, I adore his Comedy Central show, Chappelle Show. His riffages and satire of black comedy are chaotic and intelligent. However, there is a lost New Year's Eve special of the Chappelle Show that was never aired. Season 3 was supposed to air in 2005, but since he was unhappy with working on the show, he went crazy and moved to Africa. However, he has since restarted his comedy career, and he's still funny, but as for the episode I'm about to discuss, well, pancreas, 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 pancreas. Sorry. Viewer discretion is advised. I mean advised. Ladies and gentlemen, I want everyone to know that I work at a Randolph's taco shop. I had an angry boss who yelled at me, mainly because when I made the tacos, I made them a little disheveled. One day I'd fix the Doritos and Mountain Dew tacos until I found something under the oven. Something horrifying. It was a long-lost Cheetos taco. And I also found something else. Something that could lead to the theories of the end of the world coming true. I found a meat hose. The meat hose that we use to spray the ground beef into the tacos. I sucked on it, and I sucked on it. I sucked on it some more. A shiver went down my spine because I knew the meat was rotten. And then the meat hose snapped. And then, out of the oven, because the meat hose was keeping the oven door closed, out came a VHS tape of the lost episode of the Chappelle Show. Now, you know that I'm a big fan of Chappelle Show, and I could get fired if I left work early, but I did it. Ran off to my $99,000 a month condominium. That's what I meant to say. Totally. I did everything I could. Everything I could. But anxiety kicked in, and I had to know what was on the tape. So I set up my coax cables and got my VCR ready. Put the tape in. I was excited. Man, I've been a fan of the Chappelle Show since it aired on Comedy Central. You remember the skit where they airdropped the N64 into the third world? Since then. But I have to tell you, this tape was different. Very different. The episode began with a horrifying stench and also a sketch featuring Dave Chappelle in a black and white photograph. And he was screaming his lungs out. This reminded me of the movie The Seventh Seal, but it was a lot more morbid and delusional. This went on for at least a fraction of 30 seconds before we cut to the stage where Dave Chappelle finally performs. Gotta tell you, this was very, very fucked up. The live studio audience appeared to be dogs barking, throwing bones on stage. Chappelle came up to the stage as he looked a little more angry than usual. He introduced himself, but also interrupted himself with a monologue about a fat Axl Rose and how he threatened to sue Google for using his fat images. I didn't know he did music comedy. Then we cut to the next skit. The next skit was about Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, talking to Dave Chappelle in a white hair metal band, and they were making racist jokes. Here and there, some tasteless jokes that were, to be honest, kind of good. But the next part, the shiver crawled up and down my spine like a Little Caesar stomach ache. Dave Chappelle brutally beat the shit out of Charlie in the most realistic way possible, and this wasn't scripted either. He said, "I'm not working with you anymore. Fuck that shit, and fuck Comedy Central." He ripped up his shirt, he beat up the cameras, everything. All this while people were humming the Chappelle's Show theme song as if nothing was happening. The final skit was the worst part of them all. Dave Chappelle was seen working for the Freemasons. He used 3 shapes to form triangles and conducted a speech about how racism is still going on. Yet he was saying that Black Lives Matter doesn't matter. Then the tape stopped. No music video, nothing. It just ended. I ejected the tape, feeling worried about the world itself. Was this a prank? Was this for real? Am I a skeleton? I heard a knock on my window. Dave Chappelle was outside. "I see you've been watching my show, bitch," said Dave Chappelle. I was scared. I tried to contact the police or hug my teddy bear Chesterton, but Dave Chappelle came in, ruined my couch, took a shit on the couch, screaming that he was Rick James. Then he used his Freemason triangles to cut off my hand. Kids, the moral of this story is, don't use crack. It can kill you. Or at least you could end up like Tyrone. The end.